we're tough. We have to be there for others and support them publicly. And sometimes after the years go by, we kind of forget to turn that switch and we kind of keep that guard up. But you don't have to be macho with the dog.
Spartacus is really the star of this show today. But in the meantime, I figured I should probably reintroduce everybody to Brad. For those of you who have never met this gentleman, he is going around the country fundamentally changing people's lives for the better. And I just thought it was appropriate to bring you back now that we're at the new whiskey wall as opposed to the small one you were at last time. Brad, for people who missed that episode, can you tell everyone who you are?
I'm Brad Cole. I'm the Executive Director of Canine First Responders. We are a critical incident mental health support organization where we bring dogs to connect and engage with people who have been impacted by various trauma or crisis and support the existing protocols that are in place.
Brad, unfortunately, this organization has grown tremendously. Let's talk a little bit about why.
Need. Unfortunately, whether it is a community tragedy like Parkland or Las Vegas or in Pittsburgh, or with our public safety, police, fire, EMS, corrections personnel who see a lot, and it's cumulative with them at some point. And so our dogs are an effective way to connect and engage without having to say, how are you feeling? What's going on? And it allows that emotional mental hall pass, so to speak.
Sure.
And so that primes the pump so they could be introduced sooner than later into various support systems.
Who are these canines engaging with on location? And let's talk a little bit about some of the places that you guys have responded to.
1/3 of our activations are schools and community based. 2/3 are public safety based, working behind the scenes with police, fire, EMS, corrections, communication centers, after they've experienced an incident or a series of incidents. And we work with their peer support or EAP or their crisis intervention teams. That aspect has been growing. Fortunately, the community side is not, because if it has been, that means there's a lot more stuff going on and we don't want to see that.
Sure.
At that point. But working with them behind the scenes where departments for all agencies are becoming more aware of mental health issues and how it takes a cumulative effect with their personnel and how to address it sooner than later. And we in public safety, we're tough. We have to be there for others and support them publicly. And sometimes after the years go by, we kind of forget to turn that switch and we kind of keep that guard up. And we're used to taking care of others, but not caring of ourselves. And so, there's still the stigma from a long time ago that we're macho, we're tough. And this is both for the men and women that serve us. But you don't have to be macho with the dog.
Sure.
You connect, you can get that mental hall pass, so to speak, and you don't have to think about at that moment what you just saw, what you just heard or experienced. And as our partners have seen the effectiveness, I hate to say it, but referrals and word of mouth has gone around, and we're honored and privileged to be of service to them.
Spartacus came in here and is just such a peaceful, docile, beautiful creature. A lot of cops don't like talking about their feelings, right? As you just touched on, which arguably is one of the reasons why in 2018 we saw more suicides by police officers than we saw officers killed in the line of duty. Talk to me a little bit about how these beautiful creatures can go so far in helping to reduce those numbers.
One of the main things with the dog is, and we go back, I said before, is they connect and engage. You can have the best support systems in the world, but if a person's not ready to be there and talk and be present, it's not effective. And the dogs bring them to the table, so to speak. And the dogs don't ask questions. It's unconditional love. We evaluate our dogs on how they are able to connect and engage with people in trauma and to be able to identify with them. And sometimes it may be in debriefing where someone knows they need to talk, but they're either too overwhelmed or they just are afraid to talk or whatever. And we had one of our St. Bernard teams, after a very bad incident, middle of just introductions, put his paw right up on the guy's lap, and this particular officer just opened up.
That's awesome. Parkland, Mandalay Bay, Sandy Hook. I mean, you've been to some difficult locations, to say the least. How do you process it?
A lot of our teams, we try to let it flow through us. We try not to internalize what we hear or see. Some of our best, our own self-care through our own dogs.
Sure.
We also make sure we take care of them so they don't get stressed, because they're like sponges. They absorb the emotion. We also have clinicians that are associated with us. So if we need to be able to decompress and be able to step away, they watch us. As well as we're trained to watch each other's back. So I don't care if I'm the executive director. If I'm working and someone who's doing operational support taps me on the shoulder and says, you got to tap out. They're seeing something that I'm missing, and so I have to honor that.
You guys just had a documentary come out about you, huh? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we had a documentary released in May and still making the film circuit. It's won several national and international awards, so we're very excited about it. It's called Connection in Crisis. And we have many great teams, but the director kind of told the story through Spartacus, because we've started the organization. He's been through many of the events. So while it looks like it's about him, it's actually about all the teams and what they do. And it was a very compassionate film that the director made.
Was it scary letting your guard down to have a production team with you?
It wasn't scary for us. Because we talk about the various events through our lives and to support each other. But when our partners want to be included in the film, my biggest concern was to make sure their story was compassionately told with sensitivity.
Sure.
And to be authentic of what they wanted to say and be. Because so many times you hear of films or news clips that get cut and pasted and gives us the wrong thing. And
Right.
the director gave us our word, and he did a very good job.
Departments don't pay for you guys to come out, and I have to imagine that the costs are pretty high. Where does all the money come from?
When I wear my executive director's hat, I always sit there, and if I see a president of a corporation, go, hi, how are you? We don't charge, we don't pass along costs. Foundations, fundraisers, we've had some great fundraisers via Facebook on people's birthdays.
Sure.
that do donations there. We also will approach the businesses in the communities that we serve to see if they want to be able to help us. I don't care if we're helping Las Vegas Fire Rescue. Yes, the city can afford to pay us, but that's not the right thing to do. We're not there to make money off of them. We want to make sure that we're serving them and helping them with their needs. And so we'll go to the Golden Knights, or we went to the New England Patriots, or some foundations and some of the local things, Wireless Zone, Cartamara, other local foundations, Watson Foods are great, because a lot of times companies want to be recognized at the time of events occurring. And so it makes sense for the social responsibility platform. Unfortunately, with ours, we're not going to be doing news reports, and we're not going to be doing anything that says, by the way, we're here because of ABC company flew us out here.
Right.
JetBlue is one of our great partners. They are fantastic. They take care of all our needs when we fly.
That's awesome.
And they're great. I mean, we've been flying enough now that the crews will text each other, oh, Spartacus is on my flight, to the other.
Love it. Brad, for people who want to learn more or donate on their own, shameless plug time.
Yep, okay. It's caninefirstresponder.org. I'm sorry, caninefr.org. And there's a donate button there. And also there's in-depth information about our teams, who our instructors are, where we've been, where we want to impact. And it gets expensive. To go out to Las Vegas or Parkland for a week to send a squad out there costs up to $14,000.
Wow.
And that money has to be made available immediately.
Sure, absolutely.
Brad,
thank you, as always, for all the hard work.
Kyle, it's good to catch up with you. I love the space.
Thank you very much. Spartacus, thanks for visiting. Appreciate it. Sorry, I think we're boring him. Guys, thanks for hitting the share button on that video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. God bless America.